88% of people fail the carnivore diet or any diet in general because of this one mistake, this one piece of bad advice. And this advice is something I'm quite passionate about because I was sick for so long and put on more and more medication. At my worst, I was 100 pounds heavier than I stand here today, but I was horribly clinically depressed, and I had IBS, and I had arthritis, and I had congestive heart failure, I had an irregular heartbeat, I had so many health issues, and a lot of them were stemmed from the fact that I was overweight. And the advice I was given for being overweight, this advice I was given by doctors, nutritionists, mainstream media, I have heard this over and over again. And I believe this is the reason that I ended up perpetuating my suffering for years and years, and just having that pharmaceutical cesspool, as Dr. Berry calls it, just that cascade of medications, one after the other, more side effects, more medication, more side effects, more medication, as I was getting fatter and fatter, and my metabolic health was getting worse and worse. And that piece of advice, people have it ingrained subconsciously in their brain, and I see people that don't have success on carnivore. They're not having it because they're still adhering to this advice. And the advice is,
when nutrition experts such as myself recommend eating everything in moderation, what we mean is that you should allow yourself to eat all types of foods and not force yourself to completely avoid any foods because you think they're bad or unhealthy.
why don't you just eat in moderation? And I think that advice should be criminal. I think it is childish. I think a little kid could understand how that is poor advice. I'm going to explain to you why. I'm going to explain to you what's worked for me to avoid that common pitfall that causes a lot of people to fall off a carnivore. These people that I hear that are saying, I'm mostly doing carnivore, I'm kind of doing carnivore, but I have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. This advice is so horrible for this number one reason. 88% of people have poor metabolic health. That's just a fact. You can look that up, you can Google it. 88% of people. 70% of people are overweight. It's an obesity epidemic going on right now. For goodness sakes, we have children walking around with fatty livers. We have teenagers that are pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic already. They're walking around with depression on all sorts of antidepressants. They're overweight, they're unhealthy. The majority of humanity is sick, not because the food is just that good. They're sick because they're addicted. And you cannot moderate an addiction. 88% of people have poor metabolic health, not just for the heck of it, not just because they're choosing to do that. They have poor metabolic health because they are addicted to food that these food companies have worked up in a lab, spent millions of dollars to make highly addictive and make even more and more addictive to keep you hooked. We get children addicted at a young age by putting cartoon characters on cereal boxes, and they're lifelong sugar consumer drug addicts. But we've normalized sugar, we've normalized carbs. A lot of us don't realize that when we say you're addicted, it's not just because you're eating candy or table sugar. If you eat a granola bar, or you eat pasta, or you eat potatoes, or you eat an apple, converts in your blood to glucose, and you are wanting more and more of that sugar. If I ate a big baked potato right now, or a big apple that man has perverted from this size to this size to be sweeter and sweeter and is modified over and over again, it's not even recognizable as an original apple, I would be perpetuating that addiction, and I would be wanting more of it. So this quick interruption. Beast Mode Soap sent me this soap, 100% beef tallow, free to try. This is certified grass-fed tallow, never vegan, made in the USA, natural essential oils. We got forest ash, paleo pine. We're in the pine forest. The forest ash is my favorite. I've been using it for a while now. They sent this to me for free, but I liked it so much I agreed to do a paid partnership with them because I believe people need to know what they're putting on their body. And the soap that I had at home is full of chemicals, detergents. Seriously, after I use this soap, my skin feels so soft and so incredible. What you put on your skin ends up in your bloodstream. And I only want to put good things in my body and on my body. And this, there couldn't be much better. This is 100% beef tallow. Learn more at beastmodesoap.com. Advice that we're telling society that you just look around in society. 70% of people are overweight right now. They are all addicted. Most people don't talk about addiction. There's this stigma around it, and I don't understand it. I'm an addict. I'll be an addict my whole life. The majority of humanity is addicted, and that's just the truth. This food is highly addictive. Sugar lights up the brain on an MRI, just like cocaine does. It's highly addictive. What other addiction in the world would you go out and tell somebody that was a lifelong alcoholic, say they drank alcohol for 40 years, and it destroyed their life? They lost jobs over it. They're divorced from their spouse that they love. Their kids don't even talk to them anymore. This alcohol addiction has taken their free will and it's steered it in another direction. Would you then tell that person, let's just have it in moderation? Why can't you just have your alcohol in moderation? You can still do it.
Allowing yourself to have the foods you like in moderation rather than completely avoiding them helps you practice self-control, and it teaches you how to include these foods as part of a well-balanced diet without going overboard. That's what we mean by eat everything in moderation.
Just do it. Other people have a little alcohol here and there. What's wrong with you? It's almost like victim blaming. It's horrible advice. You would never tell an alcoholic that was an alcoholic for 40 years, they completely quit. They're 1 year later now, and they're getting their life back. They're getting their energy back. They're talking to their kids again. Their life is back on track. They're happy. Their joy's coming back. Their depression's going away. Would you then tell them, well, you're doing good now. Go just have a little beer in moderation on Saturday. You'll be fine. Have a little shot right here. Well, the family's getting together. They're drinking. Why don't you have a little bit of a drink? You would never do that. This needs to be treated as an addiction because it is. And the people that end up failing on carnivore are the ones that keep some of those things. They don't treat it like an addiction. And they're like, well, I like my diet soda that's got the artificial sweetener in it. Seasonally, we get some berries back there behind me. I'll have a couple little berries here or there. I did good all week on carnivore, so I'm gonna have a little treat. We got a graduation party, or it's Thanksgiving, it's a holiday, so I've got an excuse now. I got a built-in excuse. I'm gonna go have some pie. What's one piece gonna do to you? And they lapse, and they yo-yo, and they perpetuate that, and maybe they jump back on, and then a week later they're having a little bit of this artificial sweetener here, a little bit of this, and they're just perpetuating those cravings just like an alcoholic. I'm just gonna have a little shot right here. I'm just gonna have a little bit of beer right here. You wouldn't do that. You would abstain. And shame on these people. Like, how could you not get it? These are doctors, nutritionists, people that have dedicated their life to nutrition and helping people with their nutrition, that they're still repeating it now every single day. You would be fine if you just ate in moderation. That is horrible, horrible advice that a kindergartner could understand. It's victim blaming. And for years and years, when I suffered and perpetuated that suffering over and over again, I really believed that. I'm like, this is just me. I'm lazy, I'm fat, I'm dumb. There's something wrong with me that I'm just a glutton. I just keep eating and I can't do it. And I never realized or imagined it was an addiction. And it's a hard thing for a lot of people because we all have to eat. We don't all have to drink alcohol. We don't all have to do some sort of hard drug. But we're all eating all the time. And most of us don't accept that this is an addiction. And the first stage to overcoming any addiction is admitting that you have an addiction. So that's my big advice to people that I see. If you're just starting carnivore, you're thinking about carnivore, or you're struggling on carnivore, or any other diet for that matter, this notion that you are somehow flawed or broken if you can't just moderate like these other people that can just moderate can do, it's completely false, and you're going to set yourself up for failure. You have to realize this is an addiction. Now, if you can't wrap your brain around never having a piece of pumpkin pie at Thanksgiving again, or never having some sort of treat now and then, I'm not suggesting that you make this a lifelong commitment. You probably should. That's what I've done, but that's not how I approached it. Because if I started carnivore and said, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life, I never could wrap my brain around it. So I encourage people, just commit to yourself that you're going to do this for 60 days strict. I said 30 days when I started, and as soon as I hit day 30, I felt so good. I'm like, I'm going to go to 60. But commit to it for 60 days. In other words, what I'm suggesting to you is, don't go into this as a lifelong commitment, because then you're never going to wrap your brain around it, first of all. Commit to 60 days. You can do anything for 60 days. You are a powerful, beautiful, miraculous human being. It is a miracle that you are even here right now. Imagine all the circumstances that had to happen for you to even be standing here right now. You can do anything for 60 days. 60 days is, look at this. See this little thing right here? This little green thing right here, that little sliver. This is the entirety of humanity. 60 days is the little fingernail on the edge. It's nothing. It'll go by in a split second in your life. You can do anything for 60 days. So if you're going to try carnivore, try it for 60 days strictly. Not, I go 1 week and then I'm going to have a little sweets on the weekend, because you're going to make it so much harder and you're never going to reap the full benefits, and you're going to fall into this cycle of yo-yoing and going back and forth and saying it's harder and harder. The people that I have seen that have had the best success on carnivore, they said, I need to abstain 100% for 60 days, and they stick to it. And when you get over that hump, when you get over that initial hump, those cravings go away and it becomes so much easier. And then your health just starts improving more and more and more from there. I've never felt better my entire life, and the most beautiful thing in the world for me is watching my wife Jen do this now too. She's over a year on carnivore now, and she's still in her healing journey, and I'm witnessing her just getting healthier and healthier. She's glowing. She's absolutely glowing, and she's fully abstained. She didn't do carnivore and then said, well, I'm going to have a little bit of sweets here, I'm going to have a little dessert here, I'm going to do a little bit of this there because I deserve to. And I know my wife because we've been together since age 14 for 30 years right now. That would not have worked. That wouldn't work for me, and that wouldn't work for the majority of you out there because you're addicted. So I hope that helps you. Please leave a comment down below. Have you heard this horrible advice before? Just moderate. Why don't you just moderate? And what do you feel about that?